Hello, hello, hello.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello, do.
Comment ça va?
It's been a week. This is our fastest ever turnaround.
I know.
Let's see.
Bon.
Everything is Bunn.
Kudos to Adam and Yola for cranking it out in 7 days.
Mad. Adam churned away at it. It was amazing. I was literally like, at one time it was like 8 pages, and then all of a sudden it was like 30 something. I was like, wow.
Yeah, when I saw you on Tuesday, Yola, I think you said it was 15 pages. So you've had a busy couple of days.
I think it was like, roughly, I think it was 13-ish pages when I saw you, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure if we can make it for Thursday. And then all of a sudden, like, bosh. Adam just was like, oh yeah, I've had a go at it. And then I went on it, and it was like 35 pages. I was like, oh wow, okay, cool.
35 pages of inane drivel. It needed
it was not. And
your polish. Your lovely polish afterwards.
Not at all. I literally took a backseat and I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was like last week where I was like, oh yeah, I just wrote like a quick line for Cyril, and it like I went back to it and it was all Frenchified. This time I didn't even have to write the initial bit. It was just all there. And I was just like, awesome. I was like, maybe a comma here. There's my contribution. I'm done. But yeah, it's been fun, mate. I'm not sure how you feel, Adam, but I quite like the sort of collaboration side of things. How have you felt about the collabs?
It's the same. I've enjoyed it immensely. Yeah. No, it's been good, and I think saying, "Oh yeah, we turned it around in a week" is cool. But we had the story kind of mapped out already. Like when we wrote the first episode, we already
sort of
we already knew what the whole story was going to be, and we had the main plot points kind of mapped out, didn't we? So it wasn't a big leap from there. We didn't just write one episode and then go, oh, now what we do? It was
written ourselves into a corner with that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we knew the whole thing, really.
And it has sort of taught me like the advantage of the outline, because I think you guys mentioned like before, like last week or the week before, where I was like, oh yeah, I envy that. Yeah, like you can just sort of like put your head down and write like rubbish, but it has sort of instilled in me like outlines are quite handy. Knowing where you're going next is quite handy, because what I usually do is like write 10 pages, then think of something in that 10th page that would be really good in the second page, go back to the second page and have to rewrite the entire thing. And it's like this weird cyclical process. But it's been nice.
It's funny though, I agree with that, but it also just sort of speaks to, I think, our humanness now, just general laziness as well. I think we started out much more like we tried to beat board, and it was like, so we're going to have this scene, and then we need to go for this. Then this, and then this, and then there's going to be a cut to this, and then after about half the first episode, that went out the window, and then then it was just like right.
Best intentions and all that.
Yeah, I know. But like you can beat board it to hell, and it doesn't quite work. Once you start writing it, there's like a certain like magic that you pick up. Because I was thinking to myself, like that kind of that thing that you said like a couple of weeks ago did stick with me, where you were like, oh, like you just start writing, and I was like, yeah, fair enough. Like, so I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe I should like plan things more. So maybe I should like take a step back, really plan the outline and stuff. But there is a certain magic that comes from just going like blah, 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 on the page, because like there's certain gags like last week, and there's certain like things that we had planned, like certain notes that we were like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do this. But there have been some like really funny little like stupid shit that has popped up just from us going like blah, blah, blah. And then like the one I liked was Minecraft. Was that Hitler's sequel?
Oh yeah,
that just came out of nowhere, because I did a pass and I was like, mine it like Minecraft, because I was establishing that like Claude and Clarence like video games, because in the previous episode Burge had them playing games. And then you sort of wrote, oh, gag here like about Mein Camp, and it was just like, it's like there's that magic of just one person seeing something in something that you wouldn't have never seen. I would have never seen that joke, and it just worked really well. It's great.
Beautiful collaboration.
Beautiful collab.
It's been the start.
I'm excited for this one.
Start? Wow, that
yeah. I think we might start hanging out now, you know, person.
Oh wow, really? I've been promoted.
I'm excited for this though. The last episode I thought was particularly gripping. I was gutted when we finished.
Yeah, it was.
This better hold up to the last one. Pressure is on.
Especially because Yolo told you all that I wrote most of it.
It's all his fault.
Yes,
Nothing to do
Mr.
with me.
Disowned it before he started.
Yeah, guys, I had nothing to do with this one. Just before we get cracking.
No. Well, it's a story that we both.
Which again
developed,
is not true.
No. It's but you did churn away on it. In all fairness, you did put a lot of legwork into it. Cool. Right. So,
have you both done a read through? Have you both done a read through together?
We did at the last one.
Not of this one. Actually, we
I
haven't.
can't imagine there's been time for that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the first one we did the day before. This one we haven't. So
Nah.
yeah, the first one was so good we didn't feel the need to. So.
Resting on your laurels.
Do it on the night.
Yeah. We'll do it live. Right. Cool. So should we delve into it? Jump straight in.
Ready.
Cool.
I think so. Like we said, there's no particular need for a recap this week. I don't think. Mainly because it's only been a week, but mainly because, and then also because you will see once we get into the script.
Yes, indeed.
We should trust you on this.
All right, cool. Let's jump in.
I just miss Luke's transitions.
Oh, I know. Okay, let's wait. Actually, I do have a script
Have
transition. So
one for the script. Yeah.
Luke Williams, hit me with the sound, please.
Yo!
Oh, I forgot to even click away. I was just literally so enamored by Luke's like no. Excellent. I should have had a title page to hide this, but oh well.
So the title is Who Framed Roger Robot Part 2, I guess.
Part 2, yes. Previously on But Suddenly. Exterior, rural French village. A large silver bus pulls up outside a rural French chateau.
I'm here.
Excellent. Cut 2. Interior chateau drawing room. The driver enters and 12 figures abruptly go silent.
Cyril Basingstoke, proprietaire and living gouvernement of Le Chateau de la Rouge Poisson.
Cut 2. Interior chateau bedroom. The driver and Marcel stand in a bedroom doorway. I hope you're not squeamish. The driver pulls back the sheet from the bed, revealing the corpse of I'm so glad not to have to do Australian anymore. I was not going to do it. I was like, fuck it, I'm done with Australian. I've quit Australian. Revealing the corpse
we need
of
it for the
Roger
recap.
Townsend. We see the driver retrieve a metallic cube from his body. She presses a button on the cube and Roger's corpse transforms back to its actual robotic state. It's a bloody droid, you dingus.
No one leaves until this is through. Hang on. Wait. This is previous, isn't it? This is a recap of the whole thing.
Yeah. Imagine some great kind of cute like montage.
Yeah. Because I'm just trying to, because I have two voices for one character.
Well, your voice should. It's fine. Just do.
Keep your most recent one. I prefer your most recent one.
Let's go with
But
it.
by this point, it wasn't.
Well, no, I think Luke, your driver's always been the same character.
Yeah, but my character went growly, didn't it?
Well, no, that's more because it's more of a direction from Burge, who was originally the creative character. So he's just
He
giving
just wanted you to go growly.
But it was probably yeah.
It was a note.
I'd say if you want to save your voice now though, that wouldn't be a bad thing, probably.
It's all right. I'm here for it. Okay. No one leaves until this is through.
Good level.
Various flash cuts to the hotel's other guests. Florence, Beryl, the Beiges, Hetty, Robert, George, all looking moody and potentially suspicious. Cut to exterior chateau entrance. The Americans step down from their orange tourbus.
Chateau Rouge Poisson.
OMG.
Cut to interior chateau drawing room. Andy bursts through a door.
We found one. A clue.
Cut to exterior chateau garden. Night. Flashlights dance in the dark.
Are you daring?
Interesting.
Cut to interior chateau drawing room. George locks the door.
Wait, this is me now?
I think it was because it was you in the thing. As long as I'm alive, none of you lot will leave this place. Cut to interior chateau drawing room. Pitch black. The lights come back on, revealing Beryl's corpse at the table. Ah!
See, I couldn't have done that yet.
Cut to interior. It's an art.
Wouldn't have done it justice.
Cut to interior chateau kitchen. Night. Robert, Marcel, and Florence huddle in the kitchen.
See this?
We see a bottle of wine on the countertop.
Bah, it's vinegar.
Sorry. This is what poor Belle was sipping on before she croaked.
Cut to exterior Chateau garden, day. A man lays splayed out in the garden bushes.
Rosebush.
Cut to interior Chateau dining room. Two identical drivers fight with each other. Punches thrown left and right. Cyril picks up a loose gun and points it at the pair.
Cease your chicanery.
A window pane shatters and one of the driver's heads jolts before they crumple to the ground. Cut to interior Chateau drawing room, day.
Wakey, wakey.
A loud cracking sound rings out as the body of Beryl splits down the middle, like a nut, apparently. A young Beryl is revealed within.
How did I get into this bloody great big nutshell?
The driver doesn't look amused.
Full report, now.
Flash cut to interior Chateau corridor, day. Red ball, 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 red ball.
It's possible I was in the basement.
What on earth were you doing down there?
It's complicated.
Cut to interior Chateau basement. Cyril sits in the basement, hand resting on the giant red crystal.
Please, are you there?
Cut to interior George Tonzan's bedroom, day. The group stand gathered around Roger.
Complete reboot successful. Primary Directive 2. Acquire time dilation crystal on behalf of Gardner Cybernetics.
It's not what it looks like.
Cut to interior Chateau dining room, day.
Let's drop the charade. You're all spies here to keep a watchful eye on what's beneath the chateau.
The gathered group gasps dramatically. Thank you. Cut to early as they stroll across the garden before disappearing into a bush. A red flash of light follows soon after. We see young Cyril looking dejectedly on from his bedroom window.
Not exactement. Things started to change.
We see various flash cuts of talking paintings, clockmen, busts, and floating potentially Irish top hats. Cut to interior Chateau kitchen, day.
Roger did not take the crystals, at least willingly. That would be our two chefs.
We see Claude and Clarence in the kitchen. Claude wipes sweat from his brow, placing down a whisk on the side. Clarence examines the shards of glowing red ore he carries in his chef's hat. A vat of soup gurgles on the stove nearby. Cut to interior Chateau dining room, day. The driver turns to Roger. The entire group turn to face him. He ate the crystals.
Oh dear.
He did.
You're saying it was an accident?
His ingesting the crystals was, yes, but his death, no. He was very much killed, but it was not so much a murder of passion or greed, but rather one of self-preservation. Wasn't it, Beryl?
The group gasps and turns in unison to look at young Beryl. Who killed Roger Robot? Part 2.
Beautifully done recap. Thank you, guys. Up to speed.
Exactly.
Interior Chateau basement. Monique and Cyril sit in the gloom, lit only by the red glow of the crystal.
Bloody hell, Cyril. It's a lot, isn't it? A snake person? You're absolutely sure?
It was a carousel of oddballs back then. They were making their plans to protect Le Cristal, you see. All very cloak and dagger.
So what happened to them? What happened with their plans?
It all just fell apart, I believe. It came to nothing not long after my father and his friends disappeared.
Disappeared?
They went one day to the rose bushes, never to return. I remember being awoken that night by Dr. L.
Dr. L?
Well, that's what I called him. Had some long Germanic name. I won't attempt it as I fear my budget the longue. I've never been too au fait with Spricken de German, I'm afraid.
Cut to interior Cyril's bedroom night. Young Cyril sleeps in his lavish bed, but is suddenly awakened by a steady tapping sound. His eyes open groggily, and he's startled to find Dr. L looking longingly out of his bedroom window.
He was a friend of my father's. At first, anyway. He told me they'd grown apart. I believe he was an expert of some kind. We grew quite close.
How old are we talking now?
8.
Dr. L? No. I'll try again on the next one.
Buddy?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, foolish creatures that we are. For the sake of a little pleasure, we have destroyed ourselves.
Young Cyril sits up in his bed.
What's that, Dr. L?
Nailed it.
Cyril from it.
Nothing. Were you ever told the tale of the flies and the honey pot?
No. Father hasn't much time for stories these days.
Today's
suppose.
Christmas Day, sir.
It fits the brief. Sorry, what did you say? I suppose I missed it, but I think I need it again.
Crack.
I suppose.
Can you tell it to me?
I am not one for stories, but I will try. Flies come upon an upturned pot of honey. They fly toward it and drink their fill. After a moment, they realize their feet are stuck and they are unable to fly away. They are stuck and perish due to nothing other than their own greed. Do you understand?
I think so.
Your father is... well, he's... I'm sorry, Cyril. I feel my presence has come at a great consequence to your life. I shall be leaving shortly.
Leaving? No. Why?
I am afraid I must. Your father and I's experiments have resulted in some rather curious consequences. I must study them. It is my duty to put right what I have done here.
Will I ever see you again?
Perhaps. I hope so. Cyril, promise me one thing, will you?
Yes, of course. Anything.
Look after the chateau for me. Keep it free of flies.
Cut to
Nice.
interior. Basement, present day. Cyril sits beside the crystal, Monique transfixed by his story.
And from that day, I ensured the chateau was as clean as possible. I emptied the bins every night and ensured all the windows were closed. No flies were bloody getting in here, I'll tell you that, Paul Libre.
Cyril, I don't think that's what he meant.
Cut to
Interior dining hall, same time. A fly flies through the dining room, whizzing by the individuals sat at their tables. The Americans, Marcel, Robert, Florence, Claude and Clarence, before ultimately settling upon a young Beryl's arm. She swats it away. The driver looms over her.
what do you mean self-preservation? What did Beryl have to preserve?
Beryl had all too much to preserve.
Has?
Do it, 451.
It's time, Beryl. Their identities are out in the open. Now it's our time to follow suit.
Young Beryl shrugs her shoulders. There's no point in arguing.
Beryl and I are part of another organisation, one whose priorities somewhat align with your own.
A line? Yeah, right. This lot only want you for themselves. My voices are all just melding into one at the moment.
It's fine.
Love it, mate. You're doing fantastic.
Very good.
I suppose. We are members of an organisation dedicated to ensuring the crystals are kept safe and not used by anyone.
The Eclipse up, Hans. So the rumours are true.
We are. Founded by Cyril's father, it's our goal to ensure the crystals are not misused and to maintain the guise of the chateau as an innocuous hotel.
Cut to exterior chateau exterior. Past the driver in a chauffeur's uniform ushers Alexander, William and Sebastian, all dressed in fine suits, into the back of a lavish town car.
I was originally hired as the organisation's driver. I'd ferry them about as they conducted their business.
Cut to exterior road night. The car drives along a darkened strip of road. The trio in the back seats share papers between themselves with interest. The driver glances in the rearview mirror intermittently.
I'd drive and I'd listen, learn. Occasionally they'd ask for my advice. Small things at first, but they seemed to like my answers. Bit by bit, over the years, I became trusted more and more. Little odd jobs here and there. Someone they could rely on to tie up loose ends. But then, one day,
The car swerves violently on a wet patch of the road. The driver twists the wheel, attempting to regain control. The car spins and comes to a jolting stop as it collides with a tree.
I died.
The driver slumps over the steering wheel, blood trickling from her nose and ears, both of which we all know mean definitely dead. In the back of the car, Alexander, William and Sebastian are shaken and bruised, but not especially concerned upon seeing their driver. The trio look at each other and exit the car. Within moments, an identical car pulls up alongside the wreck and the three men enter. Cut to interior car. Alexander, William and Sebastian sit in the back of the new car, wiping various cuts with handkerchiefs. William pushes a button to activate an intercom system.
Thank you, number 4. Drive on.
In the driver's seat, an identical driver smiles, nods, and the car rolls on.
Well, some part of me did anyway.
Cut to interior Chateau dining room, present day. The gathered group stare dumbfounded at the driver. Young Beryl seems to giggle to herself.
So you're some kind of clone or something?
Something. I eventually learned they'd lots of me to go around. I was running operations for them all over the world. Obviously, you met another one of us tonight. Infinite, disposable labour. No need to share their secrets beyond me, nor us.
Sacre bleu, that is barbaric.
You have no idea what they were capable of. The resources they had at their disposal, they were untouchable.
I still don't know what this has to do with Beryl's murder. And who's the tyke? Where'd she come from?
How come off it? I thought this guy was a spy.
Mr. B, yes. Beryl died, and yes, you saw her body, but this is Beryl Bainbridge.
Young Beryl waves happily.
Back from the dead. Woo!
You're not helping. Beryl here has her own uniqueness.
She a clone or something?
Oh, Sophie. Haha. I did it too. Sorry, I didn't see any of those.
Works. Cut to
interior Chateau dining room past. A maid dusts off some of the busts in a cabinet. Sebastian wanders by. They smile at one another knowingly.
I was born here, 1953. A Chateau original, you could say. I was conceived and born on these very grounds. Like caused my, how did you put it? Uniqueness.
Cut to interior Chateau bedroom past. Sebastian and the maid sit on a bed looking over with concern towards their daughter.
My poor parents. God knows how they must have reacted. Seen their little angel grow into a shriveled old woman over a few years.
They look on in horror as their 3-year-old daughter hobbles around the room using a hobby horse as a walking stick. The small elderly woman takes a few steps, falls over, banging her head on the corner of the bed. She splits in two, revealing their young daughter again. Her mother rushes over to grab her. Cut to interior dining hall, present day.
So, yeah, I age really quickly and grow a new version inside, ready for when I die. Got it? I have a literal inner child, at the ready.
The residents of the dining hall look at one another uneasily.
Oh, like you're so normal. Hive minds, talking kangaroos.
He's Beryl. That's a lot.
Beryl relents.
She fascinated them at first. They studied her for years. They attributed it to utero impact and never to miss an opportunity.
They put me to work. I was the eyes and ears on the ground. Long-term surveillance, they called me. So you both work for this serpent? He's real? That's right. I was here first, a happy accident. Then she was created. Later on, once he had all the money, the Legion of Labour.
The driver's fist clenched as she is momentarily enraged, throwing a teacup across the room before immediately settling herself.
You know I hate calling you that, B. L'Equipe Serpent. It's led by a god-awful serpent man, hired by Cyril's father and his compatriots. An old military contact of theirs. I was his idea, apparently. Originally, I was just intended for logistics and operations, delivering cargo and such. But they soon noticed my investigation skills and added that to my remit as well.
Okay, but what has this to do with the murders? Why did Beryl kill poor innocent Roger?
We're coming to that. Beryl kept an eye on the day-to-day here at the Chateau, and I step in if there was ever a problem or threat detected. She's been checking in here as different ladies for decades, keeping tabs on the place, and in this instance, Beryl, might be best you elaborate.
Oh, go on then.
Cut 2, interior Chateau entrance 4 weeks ago. There's a ring at the door. Cyril leaves the company of Marcel and Florence, who've just checked in themselves, to answer it.
Bonjour, bienvenue to the chateau. And who may you be, mademoiselle?
I'm Beryl. Pleasure to meet you.
Beryl, blimey, we must have had about a dozen in the last few years, having some form of resurgence on the mainland, I expect. Beryls from Land's End to John O'Groats.
Yes. When's dinner ready?
This is you, Phil, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Was actually the 818th by the time I'd given up the fake name. Hardly needed them was Cyril. Poor sap was convinced Beryl Brainbridge was the equivalent of John Smith back home.
Cut 2, interior drawing room day. Old Beryl sits on a plush chair, knitting a scarf whilst keeping a tenuous eye on all the guests.
Revolving door of spies that might make up the guest list here. Blissfully unaware, of course, when suddenly I took note of a new face.
Beryl looks over to Roger, who is arm in arm with George, navigating the chateau and taking in its history. Old Beryl looks at him uneasily.
I was convinced I knew him from somewhere. So that night, we talked it through.
Cut 2, interior dining hall, present day. We return to the dining hall where Robert has his arm raised.
Hold on. Oh, wait.
Still Connery.
Who's we now, Lashy?
We, us, ourselves.
The driver buries her hand in her head. A face in her hand. Don't know where that came from. Cut 2, interior Beryl's room, night. Beryl paces in a room in front of a large mirror, seemingly muttering to herself.
Must have passed him in the streets. Maybe in the supermarket in town.
Beryl turns to the mirror, where, in the reflection, is young Beryl, sneering back at her.
No, he's here for it. He wants it.
No, not Roger. Roger is our friend.
You haven't got any friends. He's a liar and a thief. He'll take it from us, and where will we be, eh? Without our crystal.
Cut 2.
Interior dining hall day. The group sit aghast at young Beryl's story. They all look slightly frightened, except the driver. And Clarence, who is positively buzzing.
Oh my god. Claude, did you hear?
Hear what?
It's just like in the Two Towers. She sounds just like...
Be quiet, you morons. Please, carry on, kiddo.
Sorry for not leaning into that more.
I'm kicking myself for not putting a thing there. Phil?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear myself. Thanks. Now, where was we?
Cut to interior basement, present day. Monique and Cyril continue their discussion.
Did you ever see Dr. Hill after that? Or your father?
No, that was it, I'm desolated to say. Apart from one anonymous letter which came shortly after. It asked me to manage the chateau, become le propriétaire, keep the old girl ticking over. And so I did. I would make mon père and Dr. L proud.
Cyril, you shouldn't have. It's not fair for you to have...
Monique is interrupted by a voice coming through the crystal.
I can't believe you.
Cyril sits up enthusiastically. It's her. That's the woman.
I thought we were starting again. Moving to rural France to get away from it all. It was your idea. You actually brought us here. For this.
Now, if you just let me explain.
How could I have been so stupid? You never wanted to be with me. To be with us. You were never satisfied, Alex. When will it be enough? When will we be enough? I'm done.
What are you saying, darling? What are you... Wait, don't go.
We hear a double door slam through the crystal. Cyril puts a gentle hand on the crystal's face. It was her.
Oh dear. Cyril, you know that's...
Oui, Monique. It's my darling mother. Cut 2. Interior, Beryl's room, night. Beryl crouches in front of the mirror meekly. The reflection of young Beryl stares back with a fiery intensity.
We must find out what he wants. Why is he here?
Wait a minute.
Do you want me to be more
this is-
Ptolemy?
Go on, mate, please.
I think you could wrap it up slightly.
Come on, Phil. I've heard a better goal than that.
I need written directions.
It's in the language, mate. It's all there. It's on the page.
I'm going to blow you away. So you
From
look
the
Berger.
From the top.
From the
From the top.
top.
Oh, from the top.
From the top, please.
Right here.
Maybe he's just a guest. On holiday with that other nice man.
No, he's tricksy. I smells it.
So good.
Not everyone is here to take it.
They all want it. We must protect it. It's ours.
I know. I just don't want to hurt anyone again.
We do what we want, what we must. Barrel, barrel.
Cut to interior Chateau corridor at night. Beryl creeps down the dark hallway of the Chateau's upstairs.
I can be a bit rash when I'm still seeding, you see. Very emotional. Sometimes it gets me into mischief.
Beryl stops outside a particular bedroom door and places her ear against it. Satisfied, she gently turns the handle and steps inside. Cut to interior Townsend's bedroom. Continuous. Beryl clicks the door closed behind her and peers around the room in the darkness.
Sorry, can I just say it's just perfect that she's just normal in the voice everything.
I've not established my regular young Beryl voice yet, so it's like it's quite a deviation.
So good. So, what are we looking for? This doesn't feel right to me at all.
Clues. We need clues.
Shh, someone will hear you.
Rosa, eyes inside you. Now look.
Beryl begins lifting bedding and opening drawers around the room. Suddenly, she trips over something. She looks down to find a cable tangled around her feet.
What's this then? Shiny.
Beryl follows the silver cable across the floor. It leads out the room, along the skirtings of the hallway, into the next room over. Young Beryl peers inside and sees Hetty Bainbridge surveying the footage from Roger that day.
I knew it.
What is it?
Stupid. That Roger is a robot. He said to steal the crystal, to steal our prey.
She's going to say it.
It's so tiny day. Clarence is on the edge of his seat, resting on young Beryl's every word.
Oh, sorry. Carry on, please.
No, you've ruined it.
Clarence looks devastated. George stops.
I'm being even more normal with like young Beryl. So you killed Monsieur Townsend to retrieve the crystal?
Young Beryl folds her arms and sulks like a child, refusing to engage. The driver rolls her eyes.
You sure? Yes, after what she saw at dinner. Beryl's suspicions were all but confirmed that she couldn't refuse the voice inside any longer.
Cut to interior Townsend bedroom night. Beryl cowers behind a drawer, a ways from the entrance to Roger's bedroom.
You see? He eats it. He eats our crystal.
You're right. I admit it. That must be how they're smuggling it out. Smart.
George meanders out of the room, clutching a packet of cigarettes close to his chest. He looks around before making his way down the corridor.
Not smart. Stupid. Fat. Roger. Beryl. Get it back. Go on. Go on. We can feel it.
Beryl makes her way toward the bedroom and once again closes the door gently behind her, clicking the lock. Roger lies motionless on the bed.
Now, Beryl, do it now.
Beryl pulls out an advanced-looking heat gun from her pocket. Talking.
Sorry, Phil, it's fantastic. I've not heard proper Gollum Phil in a long time.
Me and Luke used to bounce back and forward as Gollum and Smeagol.
Fucking great.
Good times.
Save that for another day. Suspicions confirmed. Instinct took over and Beryl did what she had to do to get back the crystal.
She pulls the trigger and the tube-like barrel glows bright orange. She plunges the gun into Roger's chest, the flesh sizzling as it gives way to the metal underneath.
I actually know what was going to come out of there.
Oh, that was fucking great. Excellent.
Just went with it.
Cut to interior Chateau basement, present day. Cyril and Monique continue their conversation in the glow of the crystal.
I've been accoutting to her here for years now.
Oh, bless you. She died when you were young, didn't she?
That's right. I don't really have any memoirs of her, so getting to know her, even a petite, has been a joy. Most nights I'd come down here and accoute for her.
What did you hear?
Like, no Englishman has ever said accoute so much. It just makes you sing.
I enjoyed memoirs.
Well, most times there was nothing at all. And then if there was something, usually it would be a garbled mess. Things that truly defied explanation. Every fortnight at first, but then getting more and more sporadic over time. But every now and then, she was there.
The crystal hisses slightly as it begins to swirl more dramatically.
Mon Dieu! Bonjour! Hello!
Bonsoir, my darling. How are you?
We hear the distinct sound of a baby gurgling through the crystal. What's happened?
Just me then.
Oh,
What happened?
Whoa.
we hear the distinct sound of a.
Oh my
I'm so
god!
suspicious of my internet at the minute. I wasn't sure if I'd gone again, but so it was
I didn't.
Your internet
Did I
is
cut
just
out for a second there?
wayward.
elongated the word you were saying.
Mate, take a note of how far we are through. Take a note of how far we are through, and then when it's done, go back and watch it at this point.
Okay, 35 minutes. Right. Okay. I will
Not
do.
quite.
A long second.
No idea what. I was like, what? What happened there? Right.
Beautiful.
What was the word it staggered on?
It was gurgling thing, was it?
Oh my gosh.
It's distinct sound of baby gurgling. Fucking great. Anyway, Mother, I'm here. I'm well. Evu.
There. Shh. Sleep, my dear. We'll be on soon. Rid of this wretched place.
Gone where, Mother? What do you mean? Je ne comprehende.
Through the crystal, the baby's crying intensifies. Will you shut that brat up? For heaven's sake, and how many bottles is that today, dearest? You'll have cleared out the wine cellar before long. The voices fade out. Cyril lowers his head and Monique comforts him. Further hissing interrupts their moment and they anxiously look at the crystal once more.
Gentlemen, I believe we stand on the precipice of a breakthrough. According to my calculations, this material could be exactly what we have been searching for.
Oh, Sebastian. Finally. Congratulations, Alexander. You found it.
We found it, gentlemen. Imagine the possibilities that now lay before us.
We are going to be rich.
Williams, you think so small. However, there remains but one obstacle in our path that must be removed.
Oh, I love the snake guy.
That's so good. It's nailed it every time.
Not this again. This is not who we are, Alexander. See reason.
No, he's right. I can take care of it. The voices fade. Cyril and Monique look at each other, confused and horrified.
So, I'm all packed. I guess this is it. I'll call you once we arrive in London. Goodbye, Alex.
One last toast before you go, for Cyril.
Cut to interior Chateau dining room. Day. Young Beryl is still laughing maniacally.
Fucking hell, she's mad. She killed my Rog, and she can't stop laughing. Rog, get her.
Rog is ambling around the furniture of the room, dusting in complete silence.
Bloody hell.
As you can see, she's quite full on, but she's still a youngster. This is why she can't be fully left on her own devices here. We learned that pretty quickly that there was a certain inability that could arise and take over the rational elder Beryl. This became another one of my tasks, to temper the outbursts.
I don't care about any of that. She killed my husband. I want justice. Arrest her.
Surely you've realised by now it's not that simple, Mr. Townsend. Firstly, your husband is right there, fluffing pillows. Secondly, you can't kill something that was never alive in the first place. And thirdly, as is now clear, I'm not actually an officer of the law. I'm just someone with a particular set of skills.
George looks uneasy and backs toward Roger.
So now we can put to rest the curious case of Mr. Townsend. Can't we, Mr. Townsend?
George nods sheepishly.
What about Madam Bainbridge? Who is responsible for her? How you say a rebirth? Wait, what voice? Is this still Colin?
No.
Oh, this is a regular young Beryl. Somewhere between Monique and young Cyril.
Yeah.
On the spectrum.
You've got it.
We've got it. Deaf is fine. You can say deaf. I'm not touchy about it like some people.
She motions towards the Townsends.
I'm glad you asked, Agent Montpierre. You see, once we take a step back from this veritable spider's web of clues, it actually becomes rather simple. As we have established in complex circumstances such as these, one must look for motive. The starting point of any investigation. What motive would someone in this chateau have for murdering poor old Mrs. Bainbridge?
The group look around amongst themselves. Some shrug their shoulders. Nobody speaks.
Exactly. Until moments ago, you all knew her only as a sweet old lady who happened to be in the hotel at the same time as you. She was inconsequential. Intentionally so, I might add. There is no motive, no reason. So there can only be one logical solution.
Suddenly, the door to the dining room bursts open. Monique stands panting, Cyril close behind, looking distraught.
Stop! We know who killed Beryl.
The group is shocked by the interruption, the driver visibly annoyed. Young Beryl steps from behind the group.
But I'm right here, silly.
Monique looks horrified.
Jesus H, fuck. She just looks like her, Cyril. What's going on?
You can say that again. You were French when we last saw you.
Uno momento. I remember you. You stayed here before. Your dad was in town on business and you were awaiting his return. You got into all kinds of mischief and shenanigans in the hotel, as I recall. But that must be 30 years ago.
Oh, old Cyril's still got something going on upstairs.
And that was the last time we allowed her to check in as a child.
Spoil sports. Beryl? Beryl, is that you? How? It's a long story, Mon.
Unfortunately, you did miss out a whole bit. As you've interrupted my big reveal moment, so why don't you just carry on?
Right, yeah. As I was saying, we know how Beryl...
She turns to young Beryl.
How you died. It was the wine. It was poisoned.
The driver looks disappointed.
Oh, how very underwhelming. Obviously the wine was poisoned. Found her frothing at the mouth with a used wine glass in front of her. What else could it have been? It was a simple accident. Bad timing. And nothing more.
Well, not quite. We know who is responsible.
The driver's interest is clearly piqued.
Well, Monica. This is where I've come up against the metaphorical wall. Colour me intrigued. Continue.
Well, it's all happened in the basement just a few moments ago.
Cut two. Sorry, carry on.
Can I?
We can pause, man.
Pause for a second.
Yeah, just hope. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely, man.
I'll go back to this screen.
Yeah. Enjoying this.
So, I've thoroughly, Philip, I just want to bring attention back to.
Yeah, thank you for indulging me.
I apologise for missing the first couple of lines. Yeah, it took me a minute until after I'd read it. I was like, oh, Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. But at least there was enough to go back to afterwards. It's not like I missed my opportunity. So.
I was going to go more like explicit with it first and have like Clarence actually sat there watching it on his phone or something and be like,
so good. Clarence is getting excited.
Yeah. Kudos to you, my good friend.
It's such a good impression.
Oh,
it is so good.
I was curious to see how it
perhaps you two could do a bit of your old your college
our old bit.
College age bit, yeah.
No, not Master. He trusts us.
Master doesn't want you.
What's the next line?
Don't know. I make it up as I go. Can't recall.
Rewriting Tolkien. That's great.
Yeah. So it's not like anybody else hasn't done that in the recent past.
Yeah, I think I was more Smeagol and Luke was more Gollum, so I was like slightly softer sort of. I think Gollum is like more aggressive, I guess. It seems to be where we landed.
Good.
But yeah, it's really struggled with young Beryl picking up from doing 8-year-old Cyril, and then
you've done about. You've got 3 voices that are fairly similar.
So apologise for that, Phil, because I was young Beryl originally, but I wrote it all and I was just like, this is just me constantly. Yeah, it's just like big Cyril scene, then young Beryl doing Gollum, and then Cyril. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Fair enough.
It's like I've written my own one-man show for the internet. So I was like, no. Phil's not got much going on.
My 8-year-old child sounds a lot like my Cockney, so it's a tricky crossover.
Bird, I love how much more colourful or flavourful you've made Dr. L this time round.
The little
Yeah,
mispronunciations are so good.
Just
I forgot how good they are.
He's younger, so he's got a bit more.
yeah, that's what. I felt it.
It's, good decision. Good decision.
No, lovely. I love the whole concept of young Beryl regurgitating as per Burgess' script. Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, I was a bit more wild as a seedling. Or Beryl, rather. Good times.
Before this, how long had it been since you did a Gollum impression?
Probably not that long, because I kind of wind Catherine up with it quite. She hates it. Because it's like too creepy.
Unsurprising.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Does she give you a look when you do it? Is there like a Gollum look?
Stop. Cool. Hey, all good, Iolo?
Yeah, all good. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
Where were we?
Hit me with a sound, Luke. Hopefully it'll do it. Oh, never mind.
It was for nothing.
I'm sorry. It was a cracking sound, if it makes you feel better. Right, sorry. I think we were at Driver's Incest is clearly peaked.
Where is that?
Page number...
Bottom of page 29.
Bottom of page 29.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah, driver's interest is clearly peaked.
Sorry, where were we?
Just bottom line of page 29. We did it a minute ago.
Oh, okay.
Well, Monica.
Okay. Well, Monica. Oh, yeah, I said this. This is where I've come up against a wall, against the metaphorical wall. Call me intrigued. Continue.
Well, this all just happened in the basement just a few moments ago.
Cut to interior Chateau basement a few moments ago. Cyril and Monique listen on as we hear the pouring of wine and then the soft clinking of glasses through the crystal.
To our Cyril.
A few seconds pass before there's a sound of a shattering glass, choking, and then a heavy thump on the floor. Goodbye, my dear. The voice fades and the crystal grows still.
Mother! No! Why would he?
I'm so sorry, Cyril. My God, I can't believe it.
He killed her to get her out of the way for his schemes, that bastard. After all I did for him.
Monique suddenly realizes something.
Bloody hell. Cyril, what wine did your mum drink? Do you know? Did you ever hear her say?
Cut to interior Chateau dining room present. The wider group look largely confused, but the driver and young Beryl look uneasily at one another.
You bastard. Did you know about this?
No, don't do anything rash. This was an accident, 451. Like you said. I just picked up an old bottle of plonk. No big deal.
No big deal. My whole life, all my lives, they've lied to me. I've always put it down to us working for a greater purpose. We were at least doing it all for a noble cause. But this, I started in greed and murder, and we haven't really changed. This isn't what I signed on for. I'm done.
The driver removes a pistol from its holster. Young Beryl jumps behind an armchair. Florence, Robert, Marcel, Andy, and Lucy all draw their weapons in response.
What le diable is going on here?
Sorry you had to find out this way, Cyril. And I'm genuinely so sorry about your mother. She was a kind soul.
Any of you fucking bricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you. Just why they go Cockney at the end there.
Bit much, Lucy.
Sorry.
Now let's all cool our jets. No need for violence.
What is going on? Why are you all avec pistolet? I demand an explanation this instant.
This lot, much like your father, Cyril, are only here for that bloody crystal, drawn to it like flies to shit.
You scoundrels.
Pourquoi? After everything all that you were just after Le Cristal all this time? You never cared for the quaint history of the manor, the top-notch service, the subtle nouveau French nuance. You wanted nothing more than that bally crystal. I catered to you lot, fed you when you were hungry, écouted as you toiled on with your life stories. For Christ's sakes, in one instance, I even bathed you.
The group give each other puzzled looks. Marcel looks at the ground solemnly. The face painting a nightmare to get out of the kangaroo fur.
I don't suppose you've even actually been to St. Moritz, have you, Robert?
Well, actually, yes.
I knew those pictures were too bon to be true. So you were all faux guests, faux sincerity. I poured my blood, sweat, and larvae into this place, and for what? A gaggle of oddballs who just wanted to get their paws, no offense intended, myself, on some thinking time crystal. Well, I'm done with it. Finito, I say.
Cyril storms off out of the door as the others point their guns at one another.
Bravo, Adam, bravo. Cyril, wait!
Monique follows him. Where's he off to?
The crystal is gone to the street.
Shuffling, shucktash. She's right.
We've got to stop him.
The driver sprints out of the room. Shit, let's go! Marcel, Florence, the Americans, and Robert follow suit. Claude and Clarence turn to one another and give each other wry smiles.
Well, Clarence, seems we got away with it.
See, Claude, I told you it'd work out for us. So when should we schedule the New Zealand trip?
Suddenly, beside the pair, a table is toppled sideways, revealing young Beryl, a manic grin adorning her face.
Steals my crystals, is it?
Claude and Clarence begin backing away in fear. Clarence raises a whisk in front of him.
Beryl won't kill us. Nice Beryl.
Young Beryl lunges towards the pair. Cut 2, interior basement corridor. Cyril, followed by Monique, storms down the corridor towards the basement.
Cyril, what are you going to do?
Cyril bursts through the door.
Cut to interior basement. Cyril stands in front of the grand crystal.
Look after the chateau for me. Keep it free of flies.
This honeypot has drawn enough of these vile flies. I think it's time for a bit of vinegar. Cyril grabs the chair he was perched on earlier and lifts it high above his head. At that moment, the driver bursts in, followed close behind by Marcel, Florence, Robert, and the Americans. They train their guns towards him.
You'll do no such thing.
Put it down, boy.
Cyril pauses a moment before the driver stands steadfast in front of their guns.
Do it, Cyril.
You think we won't shoot you?
You won't get the chance.
The driver smiles, causing the spies to cower. Using a flurry of movements, the driver deftly disarms them all. She throws an elbow into Florence's nose, breaking it before sweeping Marcel's legs. Robert throws a karate chop at her, which she blocks, kicking him in the stomach and causing him to go flying down the corridor. Lucy manages to get her in a brief chokehold as Andy pummels her chest with strikes, but it does little to affect her. She flips Lucy off her back and atop Andy. The spies lie on the ground in pain. The driver turns once more to Cyril.
Wow, a chauffeur. I've never had one. I've never had a driver before. What's your name? Barbara. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The driver smiles at the sound from the crystal. She looks towards Cyril and nods. Mercy. Cyril brings the chair crashing down on the crystal. Cracks form on the surface. A red energy reverberates throughout the chateau. Cut to interior hallway. Within the portrait of dogs playing pool, the reverberation causes the white ball to fall off the table.
That's 2 shots.
Is it hell? You always think it's 2 shots. It was an act of God.
Just do 2 shots.
Cut to interior basement. Cyril brings the chair down on the crystal. A blast of red energy erupts through the chateau once more. Cut to chateau drawing room. A series of busts topple over, leaving only one standing.
And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle.
The bust of Shakespeare topples over, smashing into pieces amongst the others. Cut to interior basement. Cyril, with one final mighty swing of his chair, breaks the crystal into tiny pieces. A blinding red flash shines throughout the chateau. Red flash 2. Exterior chateau entrance. Later. Sometime after the dust has settled, the driver ushers out the Americans, Florence, Robert, and Marcel through the front door. They look beaten and dejected. She ushers them onto a waiting, pristine silver bus.
Come on, off you go. I'll take you back into town.
Cyril and Monique see them out. They stand and look out from the doorway. Florence pauses a moment and turns to Cyril.
Monsieur Cyril, no hard feelings, d'accord?
The remainder of the group turn in unison.
Yeah, mate, if it's any consolation, you're a cracking host.
One of the best.
Beds were very comfy.
Little man under the pillow was a nice touch too.
Best fucking weekend ever, amigo. Oh, sorry, I thought that was Marcel for some reason. Best fucking weekend ever, my amigo.
Amigo?
Cyril gives a subtle smile. Well, merci. I tried my best.
See you round, you drongo.
They pile into the bus. The driver makes her way toward the door. And what about you, Barbara? Don't be a stranger, we. Where will you go?
Me? Reckon I'll go on holiday. Somewhere hot. Tired of the French climate. Bit stale round here. All the best, Cyril.
There too, Barbara. There's a tug at Cyril's pant leg.
What about me, eh? Gonna leave me behind, are ya?
Well, you're welcome to stay if you'd like, Beryl. Seems you've been here almost as long as I have. I'm sure I can find a place for you at the all-new Chateau Le Cristal. Young Beryl smiles.
I'd like that.
The silver bus drives away. Cyril, Monique, and young Beryl waving happily after it. Land.
Oh, beautiful. Bravo, guys. That was brilliant.
Wait. And then
Very
a
nicely done.
quick
Post-credit
post-credit scene.
Oh, is it? Oh, brilliant.
Fade in. Exterior, Barbados Beach. Day. The driver sits at a bar smiling happily as she looks out toward the sunny beach sprawling ahead of her. A barman brings over a lavish cocktail with an umbrella in it. She turns on her stool as she notices someone on the far table. Sat around the table are 5 handsome gentlemen. Phil, Yola, Adam, Burge, and Luke all sit with their own lavish cocktails. The driver smiles and raises a glass in their direction. They return the gesture. The group turn to one another.
Well, seems that sorted itself out.
Hang on, so my Oscar was what? An alternate reality? Or was it in this reality? If so, how do I go back there?
Not worth thinking about. All that matters is everything sorted itself out. And all this was tied up in a neat little bow.
It was. So, what do we do now?
There's a moment's pause amongst them as they consider the question.
Spinner?
The group cheers when suddenly...
Adam, before anything else happens, do you know that bit with the bit that just happened with the dogs?
Yes.
Was that another Lord of the Rings reference? Still only counts as one reference.
No, I don't think so. Yola wrote that bit. I don't think it was.
Yeah,
That was a reference to Phil's aside. Phil had a portrait of dogs playing pool.
Just dogs playing snooker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's like a standard billiards sort of painting, wasn't
Billiards
it?
picture. So like I went back and sort of like covered the
The Shakespeare bust and the Dickens.
yeah,
and,
like the ones that hadn't been like covered in the past, because I think like the Gunther people had been like mentioned in passing, so I passed over them. And
it's the ones I hadn't had a callback sort of thing. Yeah,
I hadn't
makes
had a
sense.
callback. Yeah, just sort of like things like that. But yeah, that was it.
That's awesome.
Right.
Well done, guys.
Nice one.
Really well wrapped up.
Yeah, it was nice. It was
brilliant.
good time. That was a very good time. The Chateau saga. Thanks for that. Bert.
Yeah,
It was fun.
it was awesome. It was really good.
What's that about?
Very neatly wrapped up, actually, considering the sort of the various crazy things we threw in there.
Yeah.
You've addressed a lot of them, and sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There were certain things that we kind of had to do. It had to be like very exposition-y, as like mystery things always end to be at the end. Like it's always like, well, and this is the exact thing that happened, and I'm going to talk about it for a while. But we thought we split it into 2 little sections so that it was like somewhat interesting, and like pretty much like the idea was the Beryl's. I think I'm pretty sure it was Adams. The Beryl's, young Beryl and Beryl being like a Gollum sort of like scenario was like, yes, 100% we should do that.
Love that.
So everything has been piling up for that, and I'm so glad that ended up being absolutely phenomenal. That was ace. Well done, Phil.
Yeah, well read, chaps. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was so
Luke,
good.
do you want to do yours? Because you didn't quite get to do the Gollum. Do you want to do yours just to show everyone that you're good at it as well?
You missed it.
we did get a
Did I
brief
miss it?
answer.
Did you do it?
What's your answer?
Oh, right.
You're gonna have to watch back.
I'll watch
Brief
back. I'll watch back for 35 minutes for my weird little robotic turtle and everything I missed in the break. So this is the point where we would normally go to Spinner, but I have like a little weakling begged them to let me take the next one, so I am going to take the next one. just because I had like a stupid.
I mean,
idea.
I'm happy to spin to see who goes after you. I need to spin it.
I mean,
Sorry,
if you guys have a spin fix.
I was just going to ask whether we get a little insight into what
you obviously
what you've got planned, like any kind of teaser or something.
No. So I won't like tease because I like the idea of it being like somewhat of a surprise, but like the fundamental idea. I was talking to Adam whilst planning this, and obviously like the thing about this 5 episodes has been like building on the last one, so it's been a long saga. So I'm kind of like for this next 5, I was thinking like it can be more like a kind of like a spec scripty thing where like you don't necessarily have to have like a super knowledge of the previous episode to write your own.
So you don't have to answer, but are you thinking it's not going to involve any of the old characters? It's kind of this fresh own thing.
I think I'm going to do the fresh sort of like take with like references because it's still in the same world. Like kind of like how this one was roped into the world where, you know, we had this previous world that went absolutely bananas. And then this one has sort of like explained the origins of it to a certain extent. And we have the origins of the driver. Yeah. We have the origins of how the changes happened and all this. So it's still along that side in that like I'm going to still use like the lore of this one. It's not going to be like cut to, because I am going to carry it on from that when suddenly. It is still going to be like the but suddenly mantra is it's going to carry on from there. I just had this really good idea. This idea that I know you guys will love, and it's it's less of a like some of us. One of you will hate it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you all like it. It's all dependent on how much you like the certain thing. But
well, I've just remembered now, right? So for the rest of the guys, let him in. He said there that he's been speaking to me about it during the week. I don't remember anything that he talked about. What has just come to me is he said he wanted a script that was more focused on performance. I've just remembered that, which is instantly worried me. He was like, less about the writing, more about the actual performance. I was like, I remember at the time thinking, nah, don't do that.
It's not that. It's more like it's more self-contained. It's less like I have to establish something. I have to set up a clue, or I have to start continue on the clue from previous. It's more like this is an idea, and you like it's somewhat formulaic, and then you guys can write like your version of that formula. It's very loosely based.
Episodes, like so it doesn't necessarily the next one doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the previous one.
I mean, but suddenly you guys can do whatever you want with it. I'm not going to limit you in any way whatsoever.
I guess the assumption was it's the start of a new arc, isn't it? But it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be if you guys don't want to do it. You know, then that's how it's you. It's just an idea. So it goes back to the hint I'll give you is when Adam wrote the start of his own saga that eventually got just like enveloped by the debonair again and just got like dragged back in. He thought he was out, but we dragged him back in. There was this loose idea of hack suddenly, and I had this vague idea of doing that again, but like sticking to the hack suddenly thing where it's like little hints of history, so it still has like that element of like time travel goodness that we seem to like. But it's of a certain idea.
Cool.
But,
I like that. It's interesting. It's nice. A moose bush.
So that'll be Adam's away next week, so that it can be the 2-week schedule as normal if everyone's available.
That's when we go to Fleabag.
Oh, then no, it isn't. No, I thought Fleabag was a Wednesday.
15th, 2 weeks today. Yeah, it's Thursday.
So yeah, maybe not in 2 weeks. Maybe we can
do the Wednesday or Friday or something.
Yeah, do the Wednesday or like rearrange the day. That sounds good to me.
But yeah, we'll figure that out.
Is that an NT live?
It is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do this off stream, should we?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. We should probably
wait.
Sponsored by.
Gonna get popcorn or?
Well. Bye everyone. Thanks for being.
Have a nice time.